How are you? Thank you so much for your time. It's a
Yeah, of
pleasure
course.
to be talking to you, Shakina. And what was about defending Jacob, the script that got your attention?
Actually, the first thing that struck me, Mark did such a beautiful job, was how he talked about the relationship between children and their parents. And I thought, this guy is a father. He must have kids. He must have tons of kids because he got those really, really true moments that the film captures so beautifully that I could relate to. The main thing that I could relate to was that moment when I had a child in middle school. And here I'd had this incredibly close relationship with my son. Like, we're total buds, we understand each other, we're close, we're affectionate, we're everything. And there came a moment where I had no idea what was going on in his head. I literally thought, an alien has taken my child. He's only talking in grunts. He just is monosyllabic, and I have literally no idea what's going on in his head. And it was a terrifying moment as a parent because I had felt incredibly close to my child up until that point. And I felt both bereft, but also in a panic because I did not know what was happening. I remember there was a moment where he was in eighth grade. He had been an amazing student, reading books all the time. And he was in eighth grade. And I went into his backpack for some reason. And I literally smelled alcohol. And he was in eighth grade. And I thought, oh my God, what's happening? And I
Yeah.
reached in and found papers. He was never disorganized before. And at the bottom of the backpack was just some rotting grapes. He just did not throw away his lunch. But that panic that sets in when I didn't understand. So that was actually the thing I loved about the script, was how Mark understood children and parents' inability to understand their kids in that age.
We were sailing towards an iceberg. This little white peak in the distance getting closer and closer. But really, it's been underneath us the whole time.
Yeah, so you're saying your son is 9. Yeah.
Yeah, he's 9, and then it is also like the dialogue. He's still. I'm not. I know that they're gonna get to
Yeah,
that
you
point,
still have
but
some good time.
yes, but the dialogue with the parents, with like the Chris Evans characters and Michelle, the way that they talk, the way that Jaden reacts is incredible. It's so well
Incredible. There
written.
was one thing where I think she comes downstairs and she said, "Well, is this good news? Are you happy to hear it?" And he said, "Yeah." And she said, "Well, tell your face."
Yeah,
And she said, "Yeah." It just made me laugh so hard
like
because they're like this. There's no. I have a friend who's a clown, and she said, "Yeah, it's just the years where they lose their face, so they
yeah,
have no expression." And Jaden is such a brilliant actor,
yes,
so he has all that stuff bubbling up inside, but you really don't know what he's thinking, and it just is captured so beautifully in this show.
yeah, yes, it is. And your character, Lynn, what do you like the most about her?
I find the characters like this sort of hard to play, honestly, because I think just like Jaden and these other characters, they have so much bubbling up inside of them, so many emotions about this tragedy that's happened. It's happened in this small town, um, about everybody who's affected, but she has to suppress that because she's ambitious too. So the question for these characters always is, do you suppress these emotions so that you can forge ahead with what you think is an important agenda, political agenda for the community? Like, I like to think that she has total integrity, but you have to sort of subsume that stuff so that you can pursue the bigger good. I mean, right now we're having this hideous stuff happening in
Yeah,
Minneapolis. I mean, it is absolutely heartbreaking. And just to listen to the poise of the mayor, because you have all these considerations which one can say are just purely political, but actually they're a lot more complicated than that, right? You
yeah,
have to address your community. You have to take care, give the awful news to these parents who are grieving, whose son is dead. So I find them kind of difficult roles to play in that sense. But I hope that she has enough heart that comes across when I played her.
It's nothing worse than a kid.
We have some bad news on the case. The print we lifted from the victim is from your son.
There's got to be an explanation. They go to the same school. Jacob's in his class.
Yes, we know that.
Lynn, have you arrested my son?
Yes, she is. And I actually, I like all your characters. Everything.
Oh, thank you so much.
House of Cards.
Jana or Yana?
Jana.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Late Night, House of Cards. Everything that you play, I think you always, you bring so much to the character. And I think you prepare, we see that you do your preparation for it.
Yeah,
that's why,
there was a female DA of Middlesex County, so I did try to study her, and she was I watched videos of her, and she was dealing with the opioid epidemic in her particular county, and she constantly had to balance like what she was doing for the needs of the addicts with the people who'd had violent crimes against them. So it's a real balancing act, I think.
Yeah, no, yes, it is. And that's the part that I like the most. And talking about like Martin, I spoke to him in the beginning of the season, and we talk about the way that the look and feel, the settings and everything, but you were able like to improvise. How was Martin on set?
I actually did not improvise very much. I will say in my scenes they were quite tight. Partly some of them were interrogation scenes, or rather not interrogation scenes, so there was a specific script. Martin is like, I mean, he's really like a child in terms of the beauty of his imagination and the excitement that he has with everything that's happening on set. So you have that kind of, like he's practically bouncing, and he's got all these ideas in his head, and then he translates them. And again, you're sort of like, okay, what did he say? I have to figure out what he said, because I know there's brilliance in there, and I know there's exuberance, and I just need to just sort of process what he said in that moment. I'd worked with Pablo before in American Gods, so that was awfully nice to do those scenes with him too.
Yes. No, the cast
and
is
also
amazing.
all the children are just spectacular young actors. Really look forward to seeing them in the future. I mean, Jaden's had a past already, but yeah.
Yeah, but Jada is incredible.
By the way, has a beautiful relationship with his mother. Like they're incredibly close. So to play somebody who's, have this sort of like distant relationship with his family, or incommunicative. He's the opposite with his beautiful mother. I will say that.
Yeah, but he's super cute and super talented, and I just love him. And I know right now we are like it's difficult to say, but did you have anything else coming up, or what is next for you?
I have another Apple show, a beautiful show. Apple is doing really incredible projects right now. I'm very excited to be part of that. It's a show that's created by Sarah Bareilles. The musician, and it's a gorgeous show. It's about an artist, a musician trying to find her way to success in New York City. And I'm from New York City, and what I love about it is that it's really describes the artist's process, both the insecurity you're dealing with, your family life, and then what you're pursuing. And what I love about it, which you can't experience now, you can't walk around like this, but it's really describes beautifully the process of how an artist metabolizes what they see in the city, how much the little painful things that you see, that the beautiful things that you see, and how she turns that into song, and the beautiful songs in it, and I love it. And then I'm in the second season of Snowpiercer, which I just wrapped, but won't be out till next year.
Yeah, that's good. That's awesome. And as you said, Apple is doing great shows. Sakina, thank you so
Yeah, of
much for
course.
your
Nice chatting
time.
with you.
And it's a pleasure to talk to you. And thank you so much. A lot of success.
Thank you. Good
Thank
luck.
you.
Stay safe.
Yeah, of course.
It's nothing worse than a kid.
We have some bad news on the case. The print we lifted from the victim is from your son.
There's got to be an explanation. They go to the same school. Jacob's in his class.
Yes, we know that.
Lynn, have you arrested my son?
Before we begin, I want to make something clear. A kid your age charged with first-degree murder is tried as an adult.
I swear I didn't do it.
We believe you.
You have admitted to being in the park, and a fellow student alleges you had a knife you would bring to school.
I guess so.
They're saying he looks smug and remorseless. This is gonna follow him around for the rest of his life.
It's a mistake. We're gonna figure it out.
Do you have any doubts about Jacob's innocence?
No, of course not.
Where is the knife now?
So you've been lying to me.
I did what any parent would have done. Can't leave his fate up to the courtroom. My only job now is trying to protect our son.
We're prisoners in our own home, acting like we're normal.
We are normal.
Oh my God, you think this is normal?
We gotta get answers for ourselves.
I know what you did!
Lawyers have boundaries. I don't, not anymore.
Remember that in their eyes, it isn't just Jacob who's guilty. You all are.
Did you follow me here?
This is damaging. This is evidence.
You're scaring him.
Good. He should be scared. I'm scared.
So I have to know. I want the truth.
You can be a good man, or you can be a good father.
There was no normal to go back to. There was just before